Get it together. God
damn
it.
We didn't say it was going to open, so I'm not sure.
Warning.
I was like, I don't even know Leo's last name. Are we saying the last name? Oh, this is so exciting. Welcome, guys. Welcome back. I know you guys missed us from our hiatus. It's not really a hiatus, but it is because we're still doing work behind the scenes. But it's now November, so that's exciting, even though it's not November right now. Anyways, we're so excited to have Leo on the podcast to do one of our interviews, which is going to be a string of interviews that we're doing with a bunch of different people who we think are amazing, influential people in our community and outside of our community. We're really inspired by these people, and we would love to hear their story and just give them a chance to have a platform to be able to talk and discuss what helped them, what worked with them, struggles that they've had, and how they've gotten through things. So I will give it to Steph to discuss how she met Leo.
I was just going to say, so the first interview we didn't actually know him, right? It was just like met through Instagram thing. But I actually know Leo. We met in person. I'm trying to remember, did we meet in the Babe Gang?
We met in the Babe Gang.
That's what I thought.
Didn't meet you face to face until Nashville.
Yes, which was last year.
Okay.
And the first thing she said to me was, "You're so short." I was like, I am.
Like, how is this big attitude so fucking short?
Yeah. Just smushed into just a teeny little petite person.
But I've always said that, like, I could listen to Leo talk all day. She has the most calming, soothing voice I've ever heard in my life.
I would agree.
I'm obsessed.
Oh, thank you. My husband does not think so. He could not listen to me all day.
I think I could say that for my child as well. Like, maybe people are like, I could listen to you guys all day. And I'm like, I wish my kid could.
Facts. Mm-hmm. Yes. So we met in the Babe Gang, which is the fitness group that I'm a part of. And then it just kind of evolved from there. And I've watched Leo's journey. Oh, that's interesting that I even use that term. Yes. I've watched her journey over the past couple of years, and she has evolved fucking tremendously, dude. Like, you have done so much. I watch your growth and I'm like, I am clearly not fucking doing enough because Leo is killing it. I talk about it all the time. I'm like, you're killing it with the reels. Like, if I make one a week, I'm like, okay, I got one. It's enough for me. It's a lot of work.
It's so much work.
It's so much work.
Leo also has her own podcast, which we'll talk about towards the end, so you know where to find her. But so the reason I wanted Leo to come on is because she has gone from corporate to entrepreneurship, right? Just like many women that I feel like listen to our podcast, as well as like Mari and I, you know, she's struggled with body image and how she feels about herself and what that looks like and how that translates into like everyday life. And so we just kind of wanted to bring her on to talk about like that evolution for her, how it's gotten to her to where she is now, and like how she keeps going. Right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So
it's hard.
It is hard.
Girl, yes.
And it is work every single day. Even like, here's the thing, you're a macro coach, right? That doesn't mean that you don't still have these stories in your head about food or about fitness or about how you look. Just like we're therapists, that does not mean that I'm not batshit crazy 3 weeks out of the motherfucking month. Cause I am like,
right.
I don't have it all figured out.
I struggle with, you know, choosing the right food or wanting to binge on the weekend. Like nothing has changed about me except that I'm educated about nutrition, but it takes work every day. I don't think you can ever cure like body image issues. I just think you can deal with it, you know, in a better way. Yeah. It's going to take work. So I'm there every day.
I love that sentiment. I love that sentiment. It's not something that is just going to magically go away because you've decided to start speaking nicer to yourself or decided to start eating different foods or decided to, you know, remove the stigmas of social media and stuff like that. There still is that societal pressure constantly everywhere from many different avenues that are coming in. So I love that. It's not that it's this quick fix and it's going to be over with, which I think is something that so many people in our age group and up struggle with, right? Like the 90s were fucking brutal with like all of the dieting and the yo-yo and the this and the that, and then into the 2000s. And I mean, it's just progressively got worse. I think there is now more competition, like combating that on social media of like, normalize normal bodies, that movement, body positivity, being able to remove moral values from food of like, this is a good food and this is a bad food. So I think that there is some of that that's starting to come out and really gain traction. But again, it's not something that's overnight. It's not like I decided to wake up and love myself today and that's that. So
and now I'm
like, yeah, and I'm good. Like don't struggle.
I'm never going to have to work on it ever again. I'm going to love what I see in the mirror every single day.
Every day.
But what you said was so like, it was such it's like a breath of fresh air statement, because it's the same thing with anxiety and depression. They're not going to go away. You learn how to cope with them, so it's not so debilitating, right? You learn how to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm fucking proud of you, versus I hate you, you're so disgusting, right?
Yeah,
we all have our days.
Girl, I look in the mirror and I'm like, the thing that always bothers me, and you'll hear me joke about it, on social media, but it's, my what I call my chicharrones, my fat back. Like that's what that means in Spanish. Yeah. So like when I look in the mirror, I see it. I don't like it, but it doesn't mean anything, right? I can change it if I want to, or if I don't want to, I'm still the same person, but it's okay for me to say, okay, enough of you guys back there.
Yeah, right.
I want to change it, but it's just like, if I want to change my eyebrows or my hair color, that's kind of how I look at it. We just put so much weight, right, into how our bodies look as when it comes to fat and being skinny or whatever. And it's just, we just have to look past that, but it's hard. I mean, we were told this for years. You can't expect me to just undo all that in my brain after I've spent the last 20 years, telling myself that I had to get skinny or that I had to look a certain way or I couldn't be on social media, right? Like we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. So
I think it was your first podcast episode, Leo, when you talked about like people sharing with you their stories of like being weight shamed or something to that effect. I remember being on a college dance team and the coach making us weigh in front of everybody and then shaming us if we were over a certain amount of weight. And I was like, that's how this is going to be. Like, I probably shouldn't be doing this because my senior year of high school, junior to senior year, I had a pretty significant eating disorder that I would never admit when I was in high school. Cause I was like, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. So I went from like 115 pounds to like 135 when I got to college. And to me, I was like, I'm huge. I'm fucking huge. I'm 135 pounds. I'm fat. I'm 19. Everybody else is a dancer and they're this skinny.
Right.
And then it was like the rigorous workouts. And if you're not running the mile, then you're getting screamed at, like just outrageous things. But that was so normal.
Right.
That's actually
that's my exact story. Was in high school, being a high stepper. My friend jumps on, she's like 118 pounds. And I actually didn't think we looked very different. I jump on, and I'm 135, right? My coach is like, ooh, girl, you got to work on that, right? I'm like, oh shit. So literally that was my goal weight for 20 years. I knew if I was bigger than that, then something was wrong with me. Like this is an adult, right?
Yes.
Who taught this to me. And then of course you see this everywhere. So I spent my entire adult life trying to get to this number that I thought meant something. And this whole time, I finally learned, but fuck, like I spent my entire, if you think about it, right?
Yes.
I spent my entire adult life. Like, dude, that is crazy. Just
wild
thinking about fucking food.
Yes.
I could have been doing something else. So I feel like that's why I make it my mission to try and help people who want it. Right. I'm not going to force it on you. If you want to do something crazy, girl, go ahead with your bad self, do it. But I want to help them get past that, especially when I see younger women doing extreme things. I'm not talking about just a normal diet to see what kind of foods, fuck you up, but extreme.
Yes.
And see them uncomfortable with it. Right. And so that's why I took it upon myself to kind of educate myself. I was YouTube educated for years, doing all these extreme diets, getting my information from people that I didn't know what, Dr. So-and-so had a coat on. So that meant he was really the doctor.
Yep.
So I realized, okay, I will learn the things that the YouTube algorithm is going to teach me, because if I keep searching this certain thing, that's all it's going to feed me, right? So I finally had to get educated, formally, and go get my certification, get licensed to a couple of different places to actually learn how nutrition affects you. And then that's pretty much when I had to learn to just stop dieting for a while, which is what led into, because I wasn't at my goal weight, I had to force myself to work on my body image, right? Because I wasn't there. And usually I would tell myself, okay, once I get there, then I can stop dieting. So I finally had to say, okay, I can't diet anymore. Like, I'm fucking up my body. Like, I'm losing hair. Like, this is not good.
Yeah.
So I finally had to say, okay, this is a time I'm gonna take a year off, and I'm gonna learn to love myself, learn to, do other things. So that's kind of when I started really working on my business and focusing on helping other people, and, just learning to love myself, wearing the fucking crop top.
Yes.
Part of the community where we met, the Badass Baking, just like learning how to be okay with that while I healed my body. So that's kind of how that evolved.
Had you done like your own, not your own macro, but had you ever had a macro coach before you got certified? Or was that all like brand new?
In the middle of my certification, when I got started, I hired a coach.
Gotcha.
So that I would know before I went through all that work.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had seen, other people, and I'm like, is this just another like diet? And then when I started to understand it, that it wasn't, right? You can do macros with any diet, actually. You can do macros for whatever, but it's not the macros aren't really the science. The macros are only the science, right? It's not magic. It's, the habits, the other habits that get you there. Like macros are like one tiny baby piece of any goal that you have. And it's not just fat loss. And I think that's the other problem, is we think it's just fat loss. And there's so many women who want to gain weight or gain muscle or just be healthy, like have a healthy metabolism and learn how to eat. I talk about the only vegetable I knew when I was little was corn. Like that was the vegetable that I grew up in Oklahoma. Like I had chicken fried steak and corn, and I'm Mexican. So, or it was just like tamales and freaking menudo.
Yes.
Like,
Oh my God. Yeah.
I did not, I didn't really know anything about nutrition. And it's crazy. Like it took me a while to understand it, but I'm going to help a bunch of fucking people.
You already do.
Yes, you are. Manifest that shit. I want to go back to the statement of you saying, like, for a long time, I had this goal weight in my mind, and I thought, when I hit that, then I'll be. There's a TED talk that I give to all of my clients in the first, as homework for the first session. And it's a TED talk by Sean Achor. I've talked about it before. It's ACHOR, SHAWN, Sean spelling that the other way. And it's called The Happiness Advantage. And so it's a 13-minute video. He speaks pretty quickly, but he discusses how the lens in which we're viewing the world is what shapes how we determine and how we cultivate our own happiness, right? Because we cultivate our own happiness. So he talks about that thought process of, I hit a goal, now I need to hit another goal. And then this just continuous movement and placing your happiness on the opposite side of that goal. And then if we're not hitting that goal, or if there is a bit of a regression, then we send ourselves into the shame spiral, because we've only allowed ourselves to view happiness as being on the opposite side of that goal. And I think that this is something that is so detrimental when we're speaking about weight and body image, because I don't think that it's discussed enough just in the beginning parts of our lives, from elementary to high school, that there are different body types, and it doesn't matter how hard you'll try, you will never look like XYZ or this person because of the way that your genes and your body type is set up. You just won't. I have always had hips and an ass and thighs. I will never look like Paris Hilton. Not saying that I want to, and I'm not attempting to say that her body type isn't, great or whatever. Her body serves a purpose, and it blesses her with being able to do all of the different things that she wants to do, which is what I want people to view their bodies as. It gets you, it just houses your soul, and you're able to do all of these other different things that bring happiness to you and that allow you to cultivate that. But I will never look like that, and that's okay. I think that sentiment has to be discussed. I mean, that when I got a personal trainer in 2015, because in 2014, I was at my highest weight. I'm probably there right now, but at my highest weight. So DJ, a kid who I went to, he's not a kid anymore, he's a grown man, but I viewed him as a kid because he's younger than me. In our first session, before we even started lifting, like he went through the different body types and how they metabolize things and process through things. He's like, so I need you to understand what's realistic for you. Like you have, like, you're not going to go into being a triangle body shape. You're not going to go into being, a stick, whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for to be able to keep up with my daughter and, take pressure off my knees, because yikes, when I get to 50, I don't want to sit here and be like, oh my God, my knees, I gotta sit down or whatever it is. But so I love that sentiment of being able to understand that we're keeping ourselves stuck and stagnant if we're continuously placing our happiness on the opposite side of this goal that also may never be achievable. And I'm not saying that is a bad thing, but realistically, like when I got super, super sick after my celiac diagnosis in 2010, I got down to like 142. And I always thought 130 would be a great weight for me. I got to 142 and I looked sick. I was, but still, I looked sickly. I could fit into like a 2 or a 4, which is not something that is ever typical for me because of the way that my body shape is. But in my mind, it was a really eye-opening moment of like, if this is 142, what the fuck does 10 more pounds, 12 more pounds look like? And in my mind, I was like, well, that's what I should be, because that's what the BMI says. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh my God, like that's not even realistic.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck them. Whatever. Your scales are fucked up too. They're not real. They're not real. You want me to weigh myself in my fucking winter coat?
It looked like a skeleton with skin when I was
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's it. So you want us to be like Auschwitz level? Like, yes. What is going on? Like, that's so fucking wrong. Mm-hmm. It's so wrong. So yeah, I love that sentiment.
When I have a client come on board, I ask them, if you could snap your fingers today and be at your goal, like, why are you hiring me? What does that look like? And a lot of times it's a weight, a number. And I realize I've got a lot of work to do because there's just so much more involved. And hold on, I want to talk about doctors. I love doctors. There's nothing against doctors.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to, I don't diagnose. I am a nutritionist, a nutrition coach. I'm not a dietitian. I do not diagnose. I do not give meal plans. That's not what I do, just FYI. But, I've had clients, hey, my doc said I need to lose weight. Okay. Why do you need to lose weight? My joints hurt. Or, whatever the reason. Did they give you any other information?
Is there any more data points? Anything?
Right. Is there anything else? And, it's crazy because a lot of times it can just be, a simple fix, lift more weights. Sometimes the joints is not really about your weight. Like, what if you could just get stronger to support your already perfect body now? Right? Like, what if that was the prescription you need, right? Like, what if it was that? Sure. I'm sure I do understand that weight can affect that, but so can being sedentary and sitting all day long can also affect your joints. Like, it's just such an easy way out sometimes. And I get frustrated because, these are doctors, right? But this is what they're taught in, right? This is what they're taught. And so it's so frustrating because there's just so much shit to undo. And I just have to I get overwhelmed sometimes because I'm like, okay, like I have got to start from scratch sometimes with every single client. But then I remember being there. Like, I remember feeling like, I know that I have to lose as much weight as possible to be able to just keep up with my kid. Well, I could get super skinny by eating 500 calories, but I'm going to be weak as fuck.
I was going to say, and then you get tired as fuck.
I won't even be able to hold my damn head up. I'll be like, okay, babe. All right, sweetheart.
I still can't pick up my kid. Yeah, like there's so much, so much to learn.
Right. And I wholeheartedly, yes, doctors serve a purpose. So be able to trust in yourself to make the decision as to what you need, right? Like if you know that, you're carrying 50 extra pounds, absolutely understandable that some of that needs to come off. But also, like, there is a fitness component. You do have to move your body. A body in motion stays in motion. There is a reason why you see some 70-year-olds who are fucking killing it, running marathons and shit, and some who are bedridden. It has nothing to do, well, I can't say it has nothing to do, it's a black and white statement, but a lot of it has to do with them just being able to move their body and stretching. I've even realized, like, I try to do like challenges throughout the months and like have different things. And so last fall I was like, you know what, I'm getting into yoga. And I did like 3 months solid of doing Adrienne yoga on YouTube. She's really, really good. Love her. Doing her calendars. And I was like, wow, man, I am like flexible. I can't remember the other day. And I work out almost daily, definitely at least 5 times a week. I was stretching the other day and I was like, where the fuck did my flexibility go? I was like lifting my arm up and I was like, your tight ass shoulders, we've got to get working on that. But it's, again, that wasn't a priority. I was looking at other things that I wanted to accomplish. So stretching wasn't one of them. And so now that realization came back in and I'm adding it back in, but I was like, damn, like, just a year's time of how much you can lose. So think about, 10 years time, like, yeah, you're going to be bedridden. So get your ass up and get moving. It doesn't always have to be, you need to be on the cardio doing whatever. It's feed yourself things that feel good and serve a purpose for your body. And then also pay attention to your body. Like Steph and I talk about that all the time, of creating not necessarily workout routines, but things that get your body moving, that serve a purpose for you, that you can then frame as this is a daily living skill activity that I'm showing myself that I matter, that I love myself, that I'm taking care of my body. You can turn it into a gratitude so easily, which then goes into creating a mindfulness moment, which then goes into being able to recognize how you feel in the moment, which then is just another step forward in emotional regulation.
Oh my God, I love that. I feel like we view, not everyone, but we view movement sometimes as just a way to lose weight, right? Yeah. Like I'm only going to move my body because I want to lose weight right now. And so I'm only going to focus on, these workouts. And then once I hit that weight, I don't have to exercise anymore.
Right.
And if you view it as
punishment,
gratitude, as treating your body, with love, that's something that you can continue. And guess what? You don't fucking have to worry about, hitting this goal again or whatever. Yes. Like this, it happens, right? If you can treat it that way. But that's the shit that I have to work on undoing, with my clients and on, my message is you don't have to do hours and hours of cardio because you ate a burger or,
right.
whatever, as punishment, find movement you enjoy. Like, why are you running on the treadmill if you fucking hate running?
Like, exactly. Like what? Like, why are you doing that?
It's like, the same reason they're eating chicken and broccoli every single day, right?
Oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm so bored. I'm so over it. Oh my God. I remember doing that when I was really in my like lifting phases with DJ, and I was like, I'm so fucking bored right now. I can't eat another grilled chicken breast, DJ. And he was like, I get it, but, and I was like, but nothing, I'm not fucking eating it anymore.
Yeah. I'm done with that. I mean, you can enjoy it, right? There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, you don't have to eat it every day. And then also take it to your, Memorial Day barbecue and, reheat it in their microwave and then just sit there hating yourself all day while everyone else is enjoying themselves.
Little violins playing in the background. Everyone's you're silently crying like you can have a cookie. It's going to be okay. I promise.
Just eat the cookie.
Yeah.
That's right. I don't know if you deal with this, Mar, but I'm thinking about some of my clients that I have that are somewhat similar to me, but I don't necessarily chase goals anymore, right? I don't have a goal weight. I don't have like goal measurements. I still take them once a month just as like data points, but I'm not striving for anything. But I have some clients that are so goal focused that if they don't have a goal to work towards, they lost their whole identity. Like, well, what the fuck am I working towards then? What the fuck is the point? And I'm like, hold on a second. Like, you getting up and moving your body is for a purpose. You don't have to be working towards a goal to do that. So I guess my question is, how do you help clients who are so obsessively goal focused that it becomes like an issue? Do you know what I'm saying? Where like they track literally everything, and if they're not tracking, then their whole world collapses. And if they didn't reach one goal, then what am I doing this for? And they feel like it's like detrimental to them. Do you ever deal with that?
Oh my gosh. I deal with that most of the time.
Okay.
And I have clients who, I need to see this weight. And it isn't something I can just say this wonderful, beautiful quote and undo it, in one session. It's something I have to constantly work on. Baby steps, really. Like, okay, maybe, the scale isn't something we want to focus on right now, right? I have to use it as a data point, but maybe not every day for you, right? We'll start there. Maybe the goal isn't really the weight. Tell me, once you get there, what is it that you think you can do at that weight that you can't do at the weight now, right? Sure. Maybe that's something, or is it something you don't like about your body that you feel is going to look very different at that weight, right? So maybe it's not getting to that weight. Maybe we're just more focused on body composition, and it's usually the weight focus. It's most of the time when I look at an application, I want to get to this weight, and I feel like I'm going to pat myself on the back here, but because
do it, girl.
No, seriously though, I feel like because every time I see it, I know that feeling. Like I know it. So I know that I have to be patient because it took me years to get over that. Right. And you can't undo it. Right. Even today, even now, when I see a low weight, I get a little excited, right? It's just, I can't help that feeling. I can't change it. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you, wow, okay, I'm actually doing something that is helping my progress. Because even though the scale, people say it doesn't matter, it's still a data point if you are trying to lose fat or gain more muscle, right? Like there's going to be some changes. So I don't know that you can ever undo that, but maybe see more positive in other parts of your progress and your journey, but really helping them figure out what the true goal is. Because usually it's not the weight, it's digging deep and finding out, okay, what is it that you think you can do at that weight that you can't do now, right? And it's usually, I want to feel more energy, or I'm just so tired all the time, and I know it's because I weigh too much. And sometimes it's because they eat like shit. It's just changing the way they eat. I've had several clients who are like, I cannot believe how much better I feel. And they're in maintenance. They're not losing weight. They're not happy about it, but they have to do that for a while to kind of heal what they've done from all the yo-yo dieting. And they're like, I feel better though. Like I didn't think I was going to feel better. And maybe they're not ready yet, like to stop looking at the scale, because I just think people who say, I don't really care about what the scale thinks. I think there are some people who are like that. I do think some people say that, but still really care.
Of course.
And still look, because it's hard not to when you've been taught that for years.
When you attach it to your worth. Yeah.
I think we try so hard, because I do see a change in the world where we're trying to focus on body positivity and, loving yourself now and not waiting. But I also think there's that other extreme where now there's like, oh, if you want to change, why do you want to change if you love yourself? And then now people feel bad because they want to be healthy. And it's like, okay, what the fuck? Make up your mind.
Exactly. Here's a caveat though. And that's where social media is so fucked. Like, again, I use social media for a purpose, but like the amount of damage it's doing to young women, and I'm sure young men, like I don't work with a lot of young men with like eating or body image issues, right? But here's the thing, like to try to convince someone that like what you see with celebrities is not real. They don't want to believe that. They want to think that it's attainable. They want to think that they can have a Kim K body without spending $100,000 to get it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like a year.
It's infuriating to me because I was telling Mari, and I think I might have mentioned this on a podcast. These 3 women they had a lawsuit against Instagram because within like 3 months of their daughters being on, they had developed an eating disorder and tried to kill themselves. That's not okay.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like being thrown in your face all the time. There's this one girl that I follow. She's like, her body's ridiculous. Granted, she's probably like fucking 20 years younger than me. And you know, hasn't had a kid. She like gets paid to work out. But every time I see her, I'm like, man, what would it be like to have a body like that? I'm not built like her. I know that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it still happens. I'm a human, you know?
Right. You can't help the way you feel. Like you feel what you feel. Like you can try and work on it and try and, you know, frame, you know, the way you look at things a little bit differently to help with that. But I follow this chick who basically shows you the reality versus what you see on Instagram. Yeah. And she saw that there was this app that now can change your body.
Bitch, I saw that
in video. And so she's showing, you know, herself, and she's like, obviously this is not me.
Yes.
But how many young girls are going to see this? Like, oh my, it's just, why are we still making this? Well,
yes.
Because people use it, right?
Yep.
And we just, it's another generation that is going to have to learn the hard way. And it's scary because, right, we talk about you know, suicide and people just, the comparison and imposter syndrome that is out now. Like it is, I even go through that as a, you know, an entrepreneur. I even as a small business owner, like, oh constantly. My God, that girl is literally killing it. Like,
so I feel about you, Leo. So I feel like Mari. I'm like, I don't work enough.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I think I need to be staying up till midnight, you know, posting reels, and I don't do enough because I don't have enough followers or, and I feel like that is constant work too, right? Like
it is.
You have to talk to yourself, be grateful for, you know, for what you've got and that you're able to be here and do these things to help other people. But I can't help the way I feel. And I feel like I'm saying that all the time, but I think people need to understand that it's okay. Like,
Yes, that's the whole, when Steph and I talk about DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, and the skills that are in, this is what people don't understand about mindfulness. Like people think it's just like, oh, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to do yoga and Zen. Like mindfulness allows us the ability to understand you can have whatever feeling you want. It can come in through that prefrontal lobe, that prefrontal cortex, and you get to decide whether you give it an action or not. That emotion is there. You can understand, wow, I really, her body is like, woof, she is on point. Oh my gosh. I get to decide though that that's just a thought. And the feelings that come with it are just feelings and will dissipate. I don't need to give that any worth. I don't need to give that any heaviness, any credit, and then start to turn that into a shame spiral about how I don't look like her. I'm not her. We don't have the same 24 hours in a day. That statement, I fucking hate it. Everybody's got 24 hours in the day. No, the fuck they don't. They don't. Everybody's life has something different going on. If you have kids, if you don't have kids, if you have a 9-to-5, if you don't have a 9-to-5, if you have, you know, people in your life who require extra attention and work and people who don't. Like there are so many facets and variables to people's days. We do not have the same 24 hours. This is why it is so imperative for you to be mindful and to practice some of those skills. The how skill in DBT, the last part, effectively asking yourself, is this effective? Is this me comparing myself to this person effective? No. I'm not her. I will never be her. She is not me. She does not possess the wonderful fucking qualities that I have. She probably has great fucking qualities, but here's the thing. I don't fucking know her from a hole in the wall. So what purpose does it serve for me to be like, well, I wish I could be like her? Like, shut the fuck up. Shut up and explore your talents and what you were given. You have every fucking opportunity to be fucking great. You are spending this wasted time and energy comparing yourself to these other people that you will never be them. And that's okay. It's not a bad thing. Yeah, this is where mindfulness comes in.
I think about the single mom who works 12-hour shifts as a nurse, right? And she's following an influencer who's showing her morning routine as she journals and meditates for 20 minutes.
Right? My morning routine is 4 hours every day.
20 minutes
makes a full omelet, sits on the patio.
Full omelet.
While the sun rises.
Yeah.
And this is how I do what I do. This morning routine is why I am as successful as I am, right? And here's this mom, right? Like, the fuck, when am I going to be able to sit on the patio drinking
Sundays,
tea?
Maybe right? Sundays I can spend a good 15 minutes on myself. Like, right? Exactly.
You know,
work for you.
It's like, okay, here's my 1 hour a day workout routine with, my gym at home with no interruptions and the access to all of the healthy food that I have because I've got money and I can go to Whole Foods and buy all the things to be healthy, right? Like, it's about access, it's about time, it's, everyone's journey is so different. And sometimes, as someone who's dealing with someone like that, who wants to do all the things, that nurse is like, okay, well, I saw this girl and she said, if I did this, then I can be here. And I'm like, do you have the time? Right. You really have the time. Like, why don't we work on a plan that works for you? Like, you don't have to do all the things. Like, it's okay, because we see that and we're like, I need to do everything she's doing and I will look like her, or I will be just as successful as her. I was like, sometimes it doesn't work that way. Like,
exactly.
I know I would be more successful if I spent my weekends and my off time working on things for my business. But I also know that I would have less of a relationship with my kid and my husband. And I told myself I would never do that again, because I did that in my corporate job, traveling all the time. And that was rough. That was really rough for my family. So, sometimes it's the expectation you actually set for yourself, right? Maybe don't set such a high, I'm not saying don't set goals for yourself. I'm not saying that, but are you going to eat like that, work out like that, to maintain abs like that for the rest of your life? Is that really?
Be reasonable.
Right. Yeah. Like, do you really see yourself being like doing that?
Yes.
No. Like, I know I'm going to want to eat pizza with my kid.
Absolutely.
Like, I know this. I'm not going to ever be one with abs, and I'm okay with that.
Oh yeah, I accepted that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. Like, cool. And that's the part that takes work, like getting to that point of understanding I'm okay with not being there, or maybe not. Maybe you do want to be there and you want to do all the work. Like I said, go ahead with your bad self. Do it.
Like, do what is effective for you or what feels good for you. But I think this is a great segue into this entrepreneurship and how
that's what I was going to ask.
That's how I was like, she just talked about it and I was like, man, we are segueing so beautifully. Look at us. Anyways, so being able to segue into that topic now, how did you decide, and maybe it wasn't even a decision, how did you go from being like, you know what, corporate America can just kiss my ass, this shit sucks and I don't feel purposeful right now? How did the transition happen?
So I have to be careful because my husband still works for the company that
we won't name names.
No, I'm kidding.
I know.
It's fine. No, it's fine. But I was in sales for years. I was in real estate sales. I moved into sales with this home show company that did events all over the country. So I traveled a lot. I made really good money. And I worked my way up, to management, which meant more work, more travel, and yes, more money, but I was missing out on a lot. And I just had my little man and I wasn't able to teach as much. I teach dance fitness, and that's my Like that's my self-care, right? Well, that was my self-care. So I couldn't teach as much. And you know, I'm like, okay, I'm successful because I'm making money. Like I'm successful. Like, why am I not fucking happy? Yeah. I'm so confused right now.
Yeah.
Right. And so it took a lot, but my husband and we went through a lot of back and forth talks, and I was just super unhappy. Moving into management meant less doing, you know, the sales part, the part that I actually enjoyed. You know, I didn't get to train people as much. And so the interaction wasn't really there. And I was working 24/7. So finally we said, okay, I'm going to quit. And I want to, at the time, I want to, you know, help women, you know, working out and getting healthier. But I didn't know exactly how I was going to do that. But I was like, okay, so I gave a 6-month notice.
Girl,
it's so long.
I know it, because of the way our seasons work. I wanted to give them time to find.
Sure.
You
were being respectful.
Someone to take
no fucking way I'd get that long.
Yeah.
Steph, I think there's no way we could have done that. We had to go.
Yeah. I probably didn't have to. But trying to find that position is really difficult. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do the right thing. I really did not like it there. I didn't like how I felt. And so I finally, you know, gave my notice and started like stashing some money and, you know, like, okay, I was working towards something, right? So I was able to like stash a good amount of money, quit. And I was like, okay, like what now?
Now what?
Okay. And so I'm kind of scrambling because I'll be honest with you. I didn't have like a business plan. I wasn't like super prepared, but I knew that I was not going to stay there. And I just needed some money to float me by while I figured things out. And I remember spending so much time with my kid and I loved it. And then I was like, okay, we need to do something. So a little studio opened up for me to teach dance fitness, do like these health challenges, which back then they were weight loss challenges. Oh my God. Sure. So then the pandemic hit.
How long did you have your studio before it hit?
3 months. And
I
just remodeled it. And we had been, you know, I mean, we tore that thing up and put new floors, new everything. And I was like, oh shit. Like, so what was the next thing I did? And that's how I think we got connected, because I was like, I'm going to have to do some online shit. And right. I'm going to have to figure this out. And that was how Leo's journey started, because my Instagram was always about my weight loss. That's how I started that. And I'd gone through being a vegan. And then I went to keto when I had everything.
I think you were doing keto when I met you, because I remember it was when Sam passed and you did a workout for the Halloween challenge. And I was like, I love this bitch. She's my favorite. And then it just blossomed after that. And that was 2020.
Oh man. Burns was my mentor. So she was my mentor and helped me figure out how I was going to move into the online space and build my business, you know, online. And I remember I booked a session with you and I said, okay, like I'm having imposter syndrome, like I need help. And I feel like this is a good thing for people to hear, because we try to do everything alone. And we think that because we need help, maybe we're failing. And I used to feel that, and I would be afraid to reach out. But if anybody ever reached out to me, I would like help in a heartbeat. So we had this session and I'm like, I'm just having trouble. Like, I don't think that I can do this. And you kept saying, well, why the fuck not? What's holding you back? And I just kept coming up with excuses. And I finally was like, you know what? I'm going to fucking do this. And I made a decision then to just say, okay, I'm going to move forward. It's not Leo's journey anymore. It's not about me. I changed it to, you know, Get Fierce Academy. And I went all in, got my education on nutrition, and I studied for fucking months. I'm still studying. Like I still learn something all the time. And I made it my goal to like, you know, I was kind of at a low point with keto where I was losing my hair and I didn't know where to go. I gained all that weight back. And here I am trying to help with nutrition and imposter syndrome, even 10 times worse at this point, right? Because I'm heavier and I'm trying to tell you how to use nutrition to help you and how to get away from the extreme dieting, right? And it's like, who am I? And I'm like, well, I'm telling you, this is what fucked up my body. Like I'm trying to teach you how to stop that from happening, how to have more energy, whatever. And I did it. I invested the little money I had left because I didn't have much after,
I bet,
after we invested in that studio. And I took that and I went all in. I really did. I changed, the way that I came on to social media. I started really focusing on education and tips and helping people, and stopped worrying about the followers. Like that can fuck you up so easy.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I'm looking at people in my circle with like thousands and hundreds of thousands of followers. And I'm like, who am I?
Yep. Yes.
And I had to get past that. I work on that every day. I still work on that.
Same.
To be able to show up and, do my thing and help as many women as I can. If I can focus on that, I feel like the business will come. Like people will seek out what will work for them, and I will be there to help them. And I feel like because I kept that attitude more than focusing on the followers, the amount of people seeing my reels, and, it can get crazy because, how many times do you see on social media, all these like Instagram, teachers or whatever, like they're teaching you and you just, they're all telling you something different.
Mari and I talk about that constantly. The thing that I appreciate about you, Leo, is that you show up authentically no matter what, but you're not just doing reels just to do reels, right? Like there's a purpose behind your reels, like much like we try to be too, of like, we want to make things that speak to people, right? Versus just following trends. I don't like to follow trends. It bothers me. I don't like it. Right. But that's the game of Instagram and TikTok is that you have to do what's popular. And that's such a struggle for me.
Well, and I think that we are all doing a really good job, like you said, of showing up authentically. I think that some of and this can go for both sides, in our mental health side, and then also the fitness, nutrition, aspect, that there are certain things that we know that perform well, but don't feel good with our souls. So we refuse to do them. And so I think that is that constant mental validation for ourselves of like, I'm showing up authentically as myself, and I'm not just going to do what the trend is because it's going to get followers or that's going to gain people. Like, I'm not going to feed into what I view as a negative stigma towards, and I'll speak specifically for mental health, as a negative stigma towards mental health, in the sense of like, if you have these 3 things, then you could suffer from, I can't fucking get behind it. And I refuse, because the comorbidity between different diagnosis, you get what I'm saying, the different symptoms that go along with different, like anxiety, depression, ADD, all of those things could be comorbid. It could be one, it could be the other. So for us to just have this snapshot of like, these 3 things, like that doesn't make any fucking sense. The same way we've talked about in the beginning of this podcast, everybody's body is different. So I can't tell you to eat chicken broccoli and, stretch and you're going to lose so much weight. Like that's not that's not even a real thing. So, and like we said, this is how I structure my day and this is how I've managed to lose weight. Like that's not the same for everybody. So I'm glad that we are all, again, steadfast in that we will show up authentically and do what feels good for us and what represents a realistic picture.
Yeah, I feel the pressure. Like when I see, some influencer focus on, they'll post what I eat in a day. And I mean, these meals are like gorgeous. And I'm like, my God, like that would take me forever to not just make, but to film. And
right.
Yes.
my God. Like what I eat in a day, sometimes it's like I'm chugging down a Premier protein and, slapping some peanut butter on
a rice cake and calling it a day. Like, and then I get little chocolate chips. Like I don't like
breakfast.
Yeah.
Right. So I that is super popular. Like people post that all the time. And I can't make myself do it because I feel like it would not be, that is not how I eat all the time. Like that would not be how I eat. If you want to really know how I eat, and have chicharrones, I will teach you.
Right? Yes. Because you know what? I enjoyed the fuck out of my food.
But,
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that we've covered a lot of topics. One thing that I would like to ask, we didn't really have like formalized questions, but so Leo, when someone's coming to work with you, or if there's people that are listening that are like, okay, I really like this, this thought process, instead of trying to move away from these diets and really just focus on being nicer to myself, feeding myself better things, what would you say are like a couple first steps for people that you've seen work with your clients?
Well, I get a lot of questions about, their hormones or gut health and fat loss, and they want to try all these new things. And I'm like, listen, before we even go there, let's focus on like trying to add some nutrients to your day before we send you to the doctor to see if that's your hormones or if it's, actual gut health. I mean, you're going to have gut problems if you're eating like shit all the time and drinking all the time. It does not really mean that you have like specific gut issues, and maybe you do, but let's try, for 30 days, let's just focus on adding some more nutrients to your day, drinking your water, getting your steps in, lifting some weights every couple of days, and eating some veggies and fruit, right? And getting some protein in your day. Let's focus on just some good habits and see if anything changes. If you no longer have digestive issues, if you no longer, feel super dragged down and tired, then we have a path forward to what, to the next goal. But I get a lot of, I think I have, PCOS. I think I have this. And I'm like, well, did you go to the doctor? Okay.
Did they
tell you that?
Right? Did they find that out from Dr. TikTok that they have that? Because we
oh my God.
Exactly. So, maybe some of those symptoms, yes, could tell you that you have something wrong, but it could also just be that we're not, doing the good things in life that we really know we should do. It's just, I feel like sometimes we just need to hear it from someone else sometimes. Like,
yes,
and I will be there to tell you that, but I'm also going to kind of hold you accountable, because don't go and tell me you're going to start this fucking juice cleanse after you binge drank for the whole weekend and ate burgers all weekend.
Yeah, it's not going to help. It's not going to help. Your body is going to be so fucking upset with you. It's going to be like, what are you doing to me?
Yes.
We had an enjoyable weekend and now all I get is juice. Yeah.
So Leo, when people do you have like open enrollment, or can people just apply to work with you like whenever?
No, they can apply to work whenever. I do have courses that are specific, like have specific goals that I try to do as a group program. But if anyone's ever looking just for one-on-one nutrition coaching, they can reach out anytime.
Okay.
How can they reach out?
I was just going to say, tell the people where to find you.
They can go to getfierceacademy.com. And there is an application there. You can also reach out to me on Instagram at getfiercewithleo. I will always respond to you.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that.
So
that's
me.
Leo,
thank you for coming on
so much. Thank you. I loved this. I loved this. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy that we are interviewing different women who have really put the time and energy into themselves and are consistently interested in working with other women as well and building this empowerment movement. I love that. I'm so exciid. And
I'm super honored that you reached out to me. You have no idea. Like I totally had all the bubble guts and nervousness like coming on here. So thank you very much.
You are so welcome. Yeah. You are so welcome. You can find Steph at The Spooky Therapist. You can find me at BEA_X11. You can find us at Rewriting Her Story Podcast. We are Rewriting Her Story Podcast on YouTube. And if you have any questions, concerns, comments, please send them to rewritingherstorypodcast@gmail.com. We are so interested about different topics you may want covered, or if there is anything that resonated with you, like, share, subscribe, all the things. It means the world to us. So thanks again, Leo.
Yay. Thank you.
Okay. Until next time, guys. Bye. Bye.